All right, let's get this show on the road. This is the very first call for Impact Now. Woo! I am so super duper excited. Yes, yes, yes. Because, this program I created, it was because I knew that just getting your book out wasn't enough. People needed a bigger container for it, and people didn't always know what to do with their books. And they would just, I would see people just write these books, and then they wouldn't know how to use them, monetize them, how to leverage them. And so I wanted to put everything all in one place so that you wouldn't need to go try to piecemeal a bunch of things together. So I am super duper excited for everybody to be here. And there is a prep section. I know that some of you probably haven't had a chance to get in there depending on when you signed up. And there is a welcome packet in there that I would love for you to download, fill out, send back in to the admin. And that's so that I know everybody, like that is for your benefit, really. You are telling me where you are and what you're hoping to get, and so that I can make sure that we cover the things that you need to have covered during our time together. So make sure you do that. And then there is another downloadable packet in the prep area that is for you so that you can do some self-discovery. That's not anything that you need to turn into me, but so that you know where you stand and what kind of things that you're hoping to gain out of the program as well. And then you may not have noticed, but month one is open. Oh! So inside month one, there is a bunch of stuff with the business setup and what you need to have in place or want to have in place before your book gets launched and out there. And if you're not all done with month one, by the time we start talking about prepping for your book and picking topics and all that stuff, don't worry if it overlaps a little, it's okay, but don't get too behind. What I said in that module actually was that if you go at a pace of doing one of the parts, because it's broke up into 6 parts, if you do one part every 5 days, you will be pretty set to, have everything that you need done during that time. Don't get behind, because as soon as you get behind in month one, you'll be behind in month two, and then it just becomes this the snowball effect. So make sure you keep up. If you have any questions, or if you're feeling like you need extra help, make sure you post that in the Facebook group, so that here's the thing, don't be scared to ask for help. I have been in programs before where people, it's like 3 months out and all of a sudden they're like, well, I needed help in the very first module and I was too scared to ask and I was too embarrassed and everybody's comparing each other. Don't do that, okay? Everybody is at exactly where they need to be at the beginning of this program. You are exactly where you need to be in your business, in your life, and forever, so that you can start catapulting from this point, okay? So don't get into this comparison thing or looking at other people and go, oh my gosh, they're done and I'm not even, halfway through this thing. It's easy to kind of go there, but what I'm saying is don't go there, okay? Most of the time with these calls, what I am expecting is that you will have some things that you have completed during the month that we will be talking about. So our calls are generally going to be the second and fourth Thursdays, or Thursday, second and fourth, I don't even know what I'm saying, second and fourth Mondays at 1 o'clock. There's one that landed on Memorial Day that's going to be on a Tuesday. But in general, that's when it's going to be. I've put out dates all the way through for 9 months, and there could be a time where I might need to change something if I happen to be out of town or something comes up. But just watch that schedule that is in the program area and the membership site, okay? Just so that you can keep up to date and you'll get reminders and stuff like that. And if I happen to change something, I'll make sure that I post it in the group. So when you're in that Facebook group, make sure as well that you change the group settings to notify you of all posts. Because you know how it will have highlights or the ones that have the most engagement or whatever, posts from your friends. Make sure it's set on all so that whenever we post in there that you'll see it, okay? Make sure as well that you post your celebrations. So it's not just all about hey, I need help with this or I need support with that. Also post your celebrations, because we just do not post celebrations enough. And it doesn't matter how tiny it is. It could just be that you didn't drown your kid in the toilet this morning because they drove you crazy, you know? And that could be a celebration, just that you were able to get through the morning, you know? It doesn't matter what it is. I want the group to be supportive and celebrating with each other. We're a small, tight-knit group. I expect by the end of this time, you guys are going to feel like family with each other. I know each and every one of you on a personal level. I've talked to everybody one-on-one, and all amazing, amazing, amazing people. So get to know each other. There are a couple of people that actually do reside in the same state. Jacques, you're in Texas, right? Jen is in Texas. And then we have 2 Colorado people, and then we have a Maryland and New Jersey, and then, you know, I'm Lone Ranger here in Michigan. But it seems that most of us are in cold weathers except the 2 Texas people. So get to know each other. There could be collaborations in here. I have found my business besties in groups like this, and I have kept in touch with them. I have grown my business with them. They have been a great sounding board and support, so make sure you do that, okay? So let's start off first. I know you guys are going to put in your video introductions in the group, right? Because that's at the end of the welcome packet. But quickly, because there's just a few of us here, if we could go through, tell people who you are, what you do, why you're excited about the program. I'm gonna make Rhonda go first because you're in the first corner of on my screen.
Oh, sure. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Turn up my volume. Oh, okay, yep. Great. So my name is Rhonda Wood, and I live in the lovely town of Upper Marlboro, Maryland, which is about 12 or so miles outside of our lovely nation's capital. And I actually spent about 25 years in corporate America. I actually took leave from my corporate America job to fully support my daughter during her mental health journey. My daughter's doing fine. She's writing, speaking, and in her 2nd year of college. And so a part of my sort of journey is that I actually support the personal and financial sort of empowerment of women and young girls. And I am super excited about this group. I'm ready to get started. I feel like I have so many stories to tell. I cannot wait to start writing my book. I'm like bursting at the seams with excitement. So I'm so happy to be here. I'm looking forward to get to know everybody. I wish there were more people on the East Coast, but that's fine. Love you anyway. So yeah, I'm just really excited to be here and looking forward to get to know everybody on this journey.
Awesome. Thank you, Rhonda. All right, Jacques. I'm trying to unmute you, but it's not working. Oh, there we
go. Okay. I am Jacques Sadler. I got the wonderful opportunity to follow Vickie before I actually met her face-to-face, and met her face-to-face at Speak and Write in San Diego, which was a wonderful experience. Vickie has become my new Asian mom and my one and only coach, as she says. It has, I started this journey because I came from the military. I had a lot of successes, a lot of failures. Went into corporate America, and then became a robotics engineer. But my life changed when I was extremely ill, diagnosed with Meniere's disease and severe seizures, where I was having 1 to 8 seizures a day for 2 years straight. And God put me in a different positions to where He wanted me to really fulfill my purpose, and that was helping people to, as I say, learning how to live 15 minutes at a time, maximizing every moment of your day without missing a beat. So I co-authored a book that became a bestseller internationally, but I wanted to do more. But I just didn't. I have the ability, I have the vision. I just didn't have the knowledge of being able to put it together. And meeting Vickie was like a godsend for me, because she knew exactly how to do all of that. So this is one of those journeys that I knew I had to take. I knew that she can get me to the next level as to where I wanted to go. So I'm looking so forward as well as my wife. She'll probably log on here in a minute. Being able to really, really meet all of you guys, figuring out how we can collaborate and learning as much as possible so we can go to the next levels with what we want to do.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack. Jen.
Good morning, y'all. So Jen Sugarmeyer from Dallas, Texas, although I am a DC girl, so Fairfax County is where I'm from, so Rhonda, not too far away from you originally, spent 30 years out there. And my journey is not too different from what I'm hearing from Jock and Rhonda. I was in corporate America. I'm still in corporate America, and had some pretty life-changing, just had a very interesting journey. I'm a recovering alcoholic and really lived two lives and really struggled with that. And I just knew that there was more out there for me. And I just knew as who I was as a person, I just really wanted to give back and help people with their lives. And while I was really stuck with my addiction, I was held back from doing that. And I think that God gave me the story to share with the world and to, it made me the person I am today, but he also is telling me that this is how I need to go help others, which is really, since I was a child, always what I wanted to do. So, I came upon Vickie. I was at a women's expo in Dallas, and I met a person who knew Vickie, and she said, "I think this is where you need to start." And for me, I resonate with Jock. I want the bigger picture. I want to create an empire, but I don't know how to do it all, put all the pieces together necessarily. And I might be able to figure them out, but I'm not trying. I need somebody to help give me guidance and tell me exactly where I need to be doing, not just me figuring it out over a decade. I want to figure it out now. So that's where I am. We're finalizing the book now. So hopefully that'll be done here in a month or two, and then really just starting on what are those next steps. So looking forward to everyone else's journey as well. It sounds like we've got a lot of things right in steps. So thanks.
Yay. Thank you, Jen. All right. Navalette.
Good morning from where I'm at. Good afternoon, rather. Good afternoon. My journey. My journey has begun many years. I am a servant leader. I've worked in the field of human services in different capacity. Went to school, obtained my master's in human service, and I've been on this journey. And I know for me, there is more to what I do, and there was just so much more. And I began the quest of searching and investing in myself to learn and understand. Once I stepped back from, well, I wouldn't say step back. I was terminated a day before my birthday after 15 years with the company. But it was something that was it within me, not that I was looking on it, that I would be terminated. But when I shared with one of my girlfriend what happened, she said, "Oh my God, Miss Novelet, got into your prayer. That's what you wanted." So that's what they were hearing when I talk about the job, and I was searching to find myself because I know there was more, but I didn't know how to tap into it. And I never told you before, Vickie, but I started out attempting to do the book with someone else, and the spirit just says, "No, you're in the wrong place. It's not gonna happen here," because I still was on that quest of finding about me and my shame at the time that I didn't realize that it was my shame that continued to keep me from delivering the message that I truly believe that my experience was about helping others, because becoming a servant leader for me started at age when I didn't know what it was. As I got older, I knew what that was. Now my experience. But on the question was when I made a phone call to you and I started talking to you after we met at the Lisa Nichols conference. I saw you. We didn't meet. I saw you at the Lisa Nichols conference, and I began talking to you. And I remember you saying to me, "There's more than one book in you. I hear more than one book." You have so much, as one of the my tribe sister said there a few minutes ago, that she's just bursting. There's just so many things, but not knowing how to get it on paper or how to tell my story. So I continue to take Vickie's programs. I did the storytelling. I did the next program. And in the storytelling group, I had one of my biggest BOL, is breaking out loud moments. I broke down in tears. I was driving and I was just listening and I broke down in tears because what became clear to me in that moment is who I am, because we had the assignment to tell your story, tell your state story. And I begin to wonder, she said, one experience in your life, you don't have to put everything on one story. And then I really begin to wonder at that point, what is my story? And I realized that I used three words to describe my story. Was I'm passionate about young people, working with young people and children, my experience and my encounter. And what that was, that I wasn't saying because of shame, is that I am a domestic abuse survivor. And that my goal is to tell the story of how it affects children. And I went back and I said, oh my God, I have my thesis sitting on my table. And that was exactly what I wrote about, but I wouldn't tell anyone. So I am just so excited coming to my realization of what it is, evicting my shame, and is ready to tell my story to the world. So that's the exciting journey that I am on with Vickie, and I want to thank you, Vickie.
I'm so excited for you now, Britt. Thank you. All right, Tame. Let me unmute you. Are you okay? Hold on. It's not letting me unmute you. I think you have to do it.
Okay, yeah, hi, aloha. Let's see, I'm also gonna start the video. I just had the video off because Vickie had sent me this lovely message, thank you so much. And I got lost going through trying to find the Facebook connection. So I've realized that from now on, when I'm using my time to get ready for class, I'm gonna only get ready for class. And that way I'll be ready. I just have to tell you all that it's such an honor to be in your presence. I feel very, very privileged. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be observing my vitamin D right now. So you're gonna see me out in the sun and stuff like that. But gosh, Rhonda and I, if it wasn't for Rhonda, I wouldn't be here. So God bless you, Rhonda. If it wasn't for Lisa, we wouldn't have connected. So God bless you, Lisa. And then I already knew the shortcuts into what Vickie's been through. And it's Vickie's journey and knowing some of the things that she's experienced that have given me the courage to just jump right in. I have been, let me elevate you, trying for a long, long time, so many years that I don't want to say, to get my words into print. And I've been through some collisions, were hit by a drunk driver and some other drivers that may not have been drunk, I don't know, but had injuries and all this other kind of stuff. So a lot of recovery and focus issues, but also knowing that, like you, I want to be able to get a message out to help people so they can avoid the suffering that I've gone through. And that primarily has to do around relationships and how it is that we can relate to one another in a really healthy way. I'm sorry, they must be mowing over here. So how it is that we can relate to one another in a very healthy and loving way. First by, it sounds very cliche, but want to help people find a way to connect with themselves and then to connect with the person that they want to be with. So I'm not about, if you're just looking for a partner or for somebody to get down with, that's not what I'm about. I'm about somebody who actually is looking for their true love in life, their true love in their passion, their true love in connection with another individual, their true love in terms of how they relate to all of their family members, friends, community, the workplace, and environment. It's about expanding the things called blue zones, where we take all the things that we already know as humanity and that we've forgotten, and reestablishing that and taking that back out into how it is that we relate to ourselves and one another. I love that I'm hearing about all of you people's, what you've been through, and the number one thing that you guys are saying is stuff like getting over my past. And that, I think that's the most difficult hurdle. If we become associated with our past so that we think that that's our future and our present. And I have the same issue. I can't say that I've gotten past that, but I've learned a lot of things to try and help me get past that. And I feel very honored to be able to trust Vickie having that Asian background and knowing what commitment is and family is, and that, hey, when she told me, if you're not making money by the 5th month, I have failed you, I was like, she's my sister. I like no other information was necessary except for step 1, 2, 3, 4, and how to get there. And I know that she's not gonna let go of my hand. I know Rhonda's not gonna let go of my hand. And I honestly believe we're gonna form a community here where we're gonna say, hey, we're all getting to that finish line together. No matter what our finish line looks like, we're getting there. And I feel so privileged to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamay.
Absolutely.
All right. The other Rhonda, the beautiful wife of Jacques. Can you talk? Let's see. I can't hear you, and I can't unmute you. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. You, Rhonda. Rhonda without an H. It doesn't look like it's muted on my side, so it's got to be on your side somewhere. Or should we make Jacques talk for you, because maybe he does that sometimes. Can't hear ya. Okay, I'm gonna Jacques, unmute yourself.
I am trying to walk her through. she's literally she's at.
Hey, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, so talk through my phone, baby.
Hi, hello. I am at the doctor's office. That's my daughter's home. So my daughter has Hashimoto, and she's a really hard stick. But that nurse right there got her on the first stick. Yes, yes. Y'all don't understand. They have to get blood out of her foot because she just not draw blood. But you too, Rhonda, girl. It's no.
Okay, I have the
You didn't even feel it.
phlebotomist love. They're like, there are multiple choices here. They love me.
I'm just happy that she got stuck. Hi, everybody. So I came on late, so I don't know what I'm supposed to say. If I'm supposed to introduce myself or
Yes.
Vickie, what's up, people? What's up? My name is Rhonda. That man down there, that's my hubby. John, what's up, baby? What's up? Hey.
They're the most adorable people you've ever met together. Oh my gosh. So
now my daughter's trying to hush me up. I don't know why, because we're in the room. There's nobody here. I love my doctor's office. That's fine. I am super duper excited about this. Vickie is so awesome. Her spirit is so awesome, and it's like I just relate to her really, really well. Josh is in love with you. I'm in love with you. It's so awesome. She's so sorry. She's so sorry, y'all. She's so down to earth, but she is so on it. She does not play with you, but it's in a lovingly favorite aunt type of thing. I am on this journey of writing my first book, and this book has been on me for a long time, and it's dealing with like young girls, which is something that I've done my whole life. I've always mentored girls my whole life, always mentored kids my whole life. So when I in the truck, so sorry y'all. So when I went to Thinking Right with my husband, I was just going for the support, and I was going to go downtown and praise dance, like downtown, like in the middle of the square, and just hang out with y'all. Boy, it was totally different. I ended up being with him because he had a second ticket, and then meeting Lisa and Vickie and Mac and everybody, it totally changed my whole, like, just mind frame of just where I thought that I wanted to go, or just where I thought that I wanted to be. And who was that to tell me that? It was Lisa. She was like, "Girl, you're coming here, but you're going to leave a totally different person." I said, "Girl, I'm just hanging out." And it was totally different. I've been writing this book, and so many people are for me, like writing this book that is really crazy. Like I have there's a connection with children that I just have, or just with young girls that I just have, and they love me, and I love them back, and I can just relate to them. Like, yeah, Rhonda, right? I treat them like people. So anyway, let me debrief. So I'm writing this book, and then my goal is to have a conference of like getting the young folks out. I had the name picked. I have all this stuff that I want to do. I choreograph plays and dances. I do so much stuff. And the conference that I want to have, it's going to be a mixture. Like, I want them to walk into a party, but they're going to leave knowing so much knowledge, so much stuff, but they're going to learn it on their level from people that's been through what they've been through, because these kids are going through it and they're killing themselves. There's a lot that's going on, and I feel like that I can stop that. Like I can teach, like if I had a me when I was 15 or 20, oh my God, but I wasn't supposed to have a me, because I'm supposed to be a me now. I had to go through everything that I went through so I could teach them what they have to know, right? So I couldn't have a me. So I had to go through boyfriends and friends who are frenemies, and life just struggles that I shouldn't have had, like wanting to go to college but didn't have parents that pushed me to go. But now I see that I didn't need it, and there's nothing wrong with it at all. But my life lessons made me learn. Oh, I'm sorry. So the doctor's here. I'm about to walk out. That's her office right there. So anyway, I'm just going to stop right there. There is so much more, but we have so much time. And then Jacques said that we meet every Monday, and that's my day off. So I did a little dance like that. Yes, ma'am. Okay. But I can go back in.
All right. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you.
So this is my happy dance. Because I'm so happy, and I want to learn how to work Zoom, because I'm 1980s baby with all this stuff. So anyway, I love you, Vickie. I cannot wait. I already love everybody that's online. It sounds really crazy to say that, but I truly do. And I know that with all of us helping each other, we can finish our books, we can finish our goals, we can do our dreams. You know, y'all already know Jock's story, I'm sure, with everything that we've been through, but we know, that it's just a stepping stone and stuff that we had to go through so that we can teach other folks. Man, if we can get through all this craziness that we've been through, that anybody can. So I'll be quiet, just going to wave out. I'm going to do the yes.
Thank you.
So I'm just excited.
Yeah.
You might want to mute me because I don't know how to push it.
I got you, baby.
You guys are so darn cute. All right, cool. So as you can see, like, everybody has such an amazing, amazing story. And that's what I love about the books that I help people to write and the businesses that I help people to grow, is that everybody has such a heart for others. You know, everybody here is not in it for them. They're in it because they wish they had that person when they were 15. Right? They wish they had somebody to help them through that struggle. So I am super excited to see all these books come to life and all the changes and world impact that you guys are going to make. But here's the thing I want to tell you guys today is that everything is about your story. When I wrote my first 2 books, and I was still a wellness master herbalist, and so I was coaching in that health arena at first, people came to me and they kept saying, well, how are you growing your following? How are you growing this community? How are you getting people to come talk to you? Oh, it was because I kept sharing my story, and I kept sharing my journey, and I kept sharing things that were going on with me, right? At the time, I honestly didn't know what I was doing. I was just sharing, you know, and I was sharing what was happening to me at the time. And that was magnetic to people. So we have stories that are happening right now. And some of them may or may not be good ones to tell at the time. Like if you're not over to the other side, don't tell that story just yet. But, you know, there are ones in our past that define our why in our business and share learning points and things. And throughout what we talk about, I always go back to story. On social media, you're sharing stories, whether it's your very impactful why story, or if it's a story about something that happened that you're tying in to something, it's all a story. And people love to watch other people and share and be engrossed in stories, right? It's just like TV and all that stuff. And I really encourage you, while you're watching TV or listening to commercials on the radio or anything like that, start being that marketer, because this is all about marketing, really, right? Growing your following, sharing this is all about marketing. Listen with a different ear from now on. Listen with an ear that's like, okay, why did they say that? And what are they really meaning from that? And what emotion is being evoked from this? Why is this commercial more impactful than another one? Because we know commercials that suck, right? The ones where it's the furniture commercial where they decide to stick their kid in it because they think their kid's cute. Like that one's not really good. Sorry. It's just not really good. Or the billboard with the realtor who has their kid on it because they just want to have their kid on the billboard. Okay, the kid is cute, but it's not helping anything. Okay, so we really can tell which advertisements hook us in and which ones don't, right? Even if okay, this is not me, but every so often I do catch like Home Shopping Network and stuff like that. I had a little stint in college where I bought a few too many towels and had to ask my dad to bail me out of my credit card. And then I was like, okay, I got to stop watching this. But anyways, when you look at those, look at them with a different eye. Everything is market research to me. Everything that happens in my life could potentially be a story. The other day we went to a new restaurant and oh my gosh, I was just cracking up because this little boy, he has this little cardboard box with his chicken strips and fries in it, right? He turns around, accidentally drops the whole entire thing on the floor. His chicken's on the ground, and in like 2 seconds flat, she crouches down and just like shoves the whole thing back. And I'm thinking, there's carpet fuzz, there's probably a bug in there, you know, whatever. It's all in his box now. And he closed it up really quickly, and before his mother even turned around, like she had no idea that this had happened. So they're going to go home, and who knows, she's going to find carpet fuzz in this thing and wonder what happened when she tries to heat it up. And okay, here's the thing. That story in itself is okay, right? And it's a little cute and funny. But if I can take that story and now parallel and make an analogy to something in business, like what if I said to you, how many times in our life have we tried to take something, shove it in a box, and pretend like it didn't happen before somebody turns around? How many times in business have we ever thought, you know what, we're being an imposter. Let me hide this part of me. Let me see if somebody isn't going to notice when they open the box. See, now that story has a point. It now is a story that relates to somebody. Like when we tell our story, I say, don't go with the timeline. You know, I was born, and then at 3 this happened, and then at 5 this happened, and then in middle school this happened, and then, you know, that's what happens at those networking events when people don't know what to say, and all of a sudden you have their whole life timeline. And I'm not going to say story because it's a timeline. It's just a series of events, and there's really no point. When we share a story, we want to make sure that that story is interesting and then has a point in somebody else's life. Why is this story that I'm telling important to my audience? What can it teach my audience? What can I share with them? What insights can I share with them? What emotion do I want them to end up at? Because a lot of marketing and a lot of selling is about emotions. People buy from their emotions, and then they justify with the logic in their head, right? Well, this is a lot of times why we want to sell from that point and make sure they're connected emotionally to their big why, right? So when we're telling stories, my biggest point to you today is make sure that that audience has a reason for wanting to listen. Don't just post to post, share stories to share stories. You know, don't just throw stuff out there to throw stuff out there because Vickie gave you an assignment that you have to be out there and visible. And this is what I want you guys to start thinking and doing in this pre-book writing part, because that's what month 1 is, business setups and foundations, and it's pre-book writing. I want you to start thinking about growing your following. Who are the people that you want to attract? Like, who are your favorite people? No matter what level of business you're in, you deserve to be surrounded by the amazing people that I'm surrounded by right now on this call, like you. There is not one person on this call that I dread talking to, right? I look forward to seeing your faces, to hearing your voices, to helping you. And I look forward to our time together. And there have been times that I took clients on that I dreaded those calls. I did not want to have them. I wish they were over before they started. So this is the time where I say to you, it is not selfish to really create that client avatar and that person you want to work with that you love and adore. Because when you love and adore them, you look forward to your time together, right? And the other thing is, it usually ends up being mutual. You know, they end up really loving your experience, the experience that only you can create for them, right? And then it just becomes this awesome thing, okay? So in module 1, we talk about different stages of business, and, you know, if you don't have packages yet, I want that to be your first thing. Create that package, start talking to people about it. And the very first thing I did when I started out was I asked people for opinions. Now this is in, oh gosh, it's like, I think it's in the business setup part in the, I should know them off by heart, but I don't know the different parts off by heart. I hate to admit that, but it's in there where I talk about creating assessments. So you want to get as many people on a phone call with you as possible this month and every subsequent month, okay? I want you crafting your packages. I want you selling those packages. And I want you practicing those sales calls. And here's the thing. If you guys want to get with each other and practice your sales calls with each other and pretend like you're an ideal client for each other, do that, okay? Just don't live there with practicing, okay? You need to make sure that whoever you're practicing knows who your ideal client is so they can play the part, okay? So describe that person to them so they can be that person. And then you have to, you know, get your inner theater in here and be that person for the other person, right? And practice your sales calls. And after you practice a couple of times, I want you to book those calls. If you don't have some sort of scheduler to book your call, a calendar, whatever, get one. It's also in the program where there's like Acuity and Calendly and Setmore and Appointlet. There's all sorts of them, right? And what I want you to do is put something out that asks people for their opinions. Not a survey, not, you know, opinions. Make it 3 to 5 questions long and make them legit things that you want to know for your business, okay? Maybe their top struggle, what they would, how much they would pay, you know, like whatever it is you want to ask, make it legit things that you need to know for your business. But the most important thing is when you ask them for their opinion, you are asking them to self-select into the group of people that you need an opinion from, okay? So I might ask somebody, if you are an entrepreneur who has a proven process, is getting inconsistent months, but you'd like to get more consistency, and I don't know, I'll throw in, and you're almost an empty nester, and you still work in corporate, but you're looking for a strategy to get out of corporate. Can you answer these 3 quick questions and give me your opinion? It'll just take you 2 minutes. See how I've described the person that I want? So if somebody's not in corporate, it's not for them. Now you're going to get your friends, because I have this one friend. We all have that one weird friend who wants to help you out, even though they're not qualified. to answer these questions for you. And I have this one friend that no matter what I put out, she always answers. And I'm like, you're not even an entrepreneur. You have no desire to write a book, you know, but she always answers my questions because she thinks she's being helpful. You know that you can just throw those out, you know, just say thanks for that, but they don't really count. So at the end of that assessment, after your 3 to 5 questions, I want you to put in there, as a thank you for giving me your valuable time and opinion, I'd like to offer you a free, pitch-free, 20-minute or 30-minute or whatever you want to make it, no more than 30 minutes though, assessment about blank, and name it something juicy that they're going to want, right? Based on what it is that you offer. So something similar to your package and program, okay? And then those people, you're going to get on the call, you're going to assess whatever it is. Everything is at a high level. You might give them, you know, 3 tips during their time. And then at the end, remember at the beginning, you want to frame it, right? This is what we're going to do during our time. And at the end, if there are resources available to you, I'll ask you if you want to know about them. So they can decline if they want to, but it's still pitch free, right? So at the end of this call, you can tell them, hey, you know what? I do have some recommendations if you want to hear about them. So they can say yes or no, all right? And then you can either move that into a legit full-fledged sales call, or you can go ahead and make another appointment. So at the end, I will say to them, if you have time now, I still do have another half hour before our next call, and we can talk about this. Or if it's not convenient, because I know that we only set aside 30 minutes of time, we can set another time to talk about it. Got it? You guys get that? Yes? This information is also in the module. So like if you missed part of that, you can either come back and re-listen, or you can go to the modules and find it, okay? But that was the very first thing that I did when I was trying to get clients. And those people would convert into those sales calls. And then I was able to sell my first, you know, however many packages. Got it? Because our goal, right, even though we have hearts of service and we want impact, our goal is we need to get some clients in the door, right? We want to get some clients in the door. So make sure as well that you're not starting out at you know, too low of a package price either. Your package needs to be long enough to deliver the results that you are promising or telling them they're going to be able to get. And it has to be also worth your time. There's another thing about, you know, if you price too low, you're going to not want to show up. It's going to be like, I can't believe I did this. Now, that's not to say that in the beginning, there weren't times where I did sell packages just to make sure that I had money coming in the door, right? So that's your balance that you have to figure out. I was just on the phone with my dad today. My mom and dad are entrepreneurs as well. I don't know if you guys know that story, but my dad was going to get laid off for the second time. And my mom said to him, oh no, that ain't happening, you know, because she's the Asian boss. And she said to him, we are going to open our own business, and this is what you're going to do. And so she like basically told him what his business was going to be. He had the technical aspect and he had the contacts, but she was the one with the idea. And she's like, you are never going to come home to me and tell me ever again, because this was the second time. He was like, I think I'm going to get fired. She's like, nope, not happening. And that's how they created their business, because of my mom. And actually, I was on the phone with him this morning talking about overhead and finances and, you know, being an LLC versus he was an S corp, and then incorporating and stuff like that, and all the different aspects of that. And of course, I'm not a lawyer, right? Or anything. I'm not a financial advisor or tax person or anything like that. But he was saying for his particular business, after overhead and costs and everything in their industry, of course, he's not in coaching, right? To bring home 10 to 15% of their gross was actually good in his opinion. And I'm like, oh no, we're bringing home 30% at least. I want to get to like bringing home and keeping 40%. But the point is, when you think about your package pricing, you have to take into consideration your overhead, your lights, your computer, your travel, your education expenses, being in this program. All of that has to be within it. So I don't want you going out there telling me that you're charging $50 an hour, because every single one of you is worth more than that. Okay? No $50 an hour type of thing. I know a lot of times in the coaching industry, they'll say, well, that's pretty normal, or $100 is pretty normal, but there is not one person in here who is normal. We are not normal. Okay? And we are not going with industry average. We are going for above average. We are going for exceptional lives. We are going for exceptional change. We are going for exceptional impact. And when we are going for exceptional, and our clients are exceptional, then we have packages that are exceptional, right? And they're going to have to invest at that exceptional rate. Got it? That was the Asian mom come out. You will not be doing that. Okay, cool. So let me know if there's any questions. I kind of muted most of you, I think. Let me unmute people. Anybody have any questions about what we are doing in this first month? Yes, no, no? Crystal clear? Oh, I forgot. Okay, my notes in here. Whatever it happens in Impact Now stays in Impact Now. So there are things that are great that we will want to share, obviously, but make it a safe space so that if Tame says something to Jen knows that that's not something she's going to go and tell somebody else who tells somebody else, or put it on social media and say, oh, I had this conversation and blah, 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 or inside this program, blah, blah, blah. Now, if there's something that happens where like Novelette says, oh my gosh, Jacques, that was so earth-shattering and so big for me. Is it okay if I share how you helped me in social media? Or if it's okay if I share with my group or my friend or whatever, and Jacques says okay, then fine, Novelette can go ahead and do that. So you see what I'm saying? We want to make this a safe space that you guys can come and say, you know what, today's a really sucky day and I feel like throwing in the towel and nothing is working and my kids keep asking me for dinner and my husband like can't even pick his socks off the floor. Sorry, Jacques. That was husbanding. Like that it's a safe space we can do that. And then also have the times where like, oh my gosh, I just sold 3 people into my program and I hit my 10K or I hit my 5K or whatever it was, right? We want all of that in here. And I want this to be a safe space for everybody. So that's that. Any questions? Tame.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Is this supposed to be stuff that's coming from the first module that I haven't even looked at yet? It's part of the welcome thing, or?
So there's a prep area that has a welcome packet and a prep packet. The welcome packet is fill out and send back to me. Yep. Right. The prep packet is to fill out and for you, for your own self realizations and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then the month 1 module is open now, and there's 6 parts to it. So if you do it at a rate of 1 every 5 days, you'll get done in a month. Yes. And some of it has more information than other parts of it. Basically, what it is about in month 1 is getting clear on who your target audience is, what your message is, what you want to be known for, crafting that first package, and starting to get out there and getting people on those sales calls so that you can start converting clients. Because this is not, it's like I said, Tame, this is not one of those things where we got to wait until month 9 before I go, okay, now you can go out and make some money. We want to be making money now so that when we're writing the book is also going to be fueling some of the things that we're going to say on social media, and we're going to use that to grow our following some more and ramp up even more sales calls during those times. So you're going to be writing the book and making sales. That's what my intention is.
All right. And did I hear you correctly when you said that, I heard you say that your dad back in the day, 10 to 15% gross after all the overhead and expenses was considered good. And you're telling us that we're looking more at covering all of our overhead, like travel expenses and this program and, you know, the website operation and all that. And you want us to be shooting for 30 to 40% retention afterward?
I think 40% is probably like once you get to the point where
More
you're
established.
scaling and you're making more money. You know, the less you're making, the harder it is to keep.
Survive, yeah.
And to survive, because you do have to spend some money for advertising sometimes, or for educational programs, or to get a VA, or for your CRM, or for like Zoom. And yes, you know, Zoom's only $15, but it is an expense, right? So after all of those, generally, if you're in the first stage of like a rising star, and if you haven't looked at it, you'll know what that means later. But stage one, the rising star, you probably will keep about 20%.
Okay.
Taxes, you want to put away 30%.
That's extra. So it's 20% for us, 30% for taxes out of the entire amount that you're talking about.
Out of the amount that you're bringing home. So if you bring home 10,000 in a month, 3,000 needs to get set aside for taxes, because you do not want to be behind in taxes. I've heard such horror stories about being behind in taxes, and I'm kind of appalled with the number of programs that I've been in that never talk about this. They never talk about taxes. They never talk about how much you should be putting away, how much you're spending in overhead and all that stuff. And I'm like, how is anybody going to be profitable if they don't know where their money is going? Right? So again, you know, like if you have a $10,000 program, you know that 7,000 of it's going to be gone. And in client acquisition, it might have cost you anywhere between 1,000 to 4,000 even to get that client. Now 4,000 is high, but just, you know, it can cost a lot to get a client sometimes. If you're going to fly to an event and you're booking a hotel and that's where you get your clients, you know, like it's going to cost more.
Well, and also, don't a lot of people, when they're doing an event, don't they also take a huge chunk of your back end? Don't they expect like 50% already?
You mean if you're speaking at an event?
Yeah.
Sometimes it really, really depends. And an event structures are very different. So like if you hold your own event, some people purely do events at a break even because they know they're upselling, and so they don't intend on making any money on the event. Now, if you're going to go to somebody else's event, sometimes they say, okay, 50% and 50% of whoever you get from my community for the next 60 days even. So it's not just that event. Some of them will say, you don't need to give me any cut, but you're going to pay me to be on stage. Right. Because I have the audience, right? And then some of them, you don't have to do anything. They just need speakers and they want you there, and you're not getting paid to be there, but you get to be in front of their audience, and you may or may not be allowed to have an offer. It all depends. Like everybody does their events in 50 different ways.
So do you help teach us how to, because I mean, that's really hard to account for when you're already losing 50% coming through the door, and you've already got to save 50% for taxes and have something for you. How do you have anything to put back? You know what I mean? Because like this course is not free, and neither is, you know, the website and everything else. You know what I mean? Like how do you make that happen when already you're losing so much?
Right. So if you're going to an event and you're speaking there and they want 50, it's probably going to be a program that is a passive income program. So I have a program that's like $300 to $500. I can give away 50% of that all day long, and it won't matter because there's no time involved with me anymore. There's a Facebook group for support, but it's not like this, right? Where there's a lot of time involved, and I have overhead costs because of bonuses that I've given, you know, and travel expenses and stuff like that. So you have to pick and choose. Besides the fact that when you are at somebody else's event, pitching a large high ticket program like this one is probably not the best one to be pitching. And then if somebody buys that lower end program at $300 or $500, when they upgrade to something like an Impact Now, you're not splitting that fee with them. You've already split the lower end fee. Does that make sense? Yes. But we'll get into more of that. Like that's a little further down the road.
My Chinese heart is to look in the future.
Yeah, that's good. But it's a little getting ahead of it,
Yeah,
because I
no,
don't
that's
see
good.
anybody at this point really putting together a large event.
Right.
But, you know, like I said, they don't have to be large for you to make money anyway.
Well, I was wanting to know, because we're talking about price points already. So that's why I was wanting to know, as I was looking at how am I going to make this in the future. And like you said, to make some of these that they're just going to be giveaways, knowing that they're going to help lead to the larger ticket helps me in terms of formulating. So not that I'm expecting to know all that, but just in the process of putting together even these 3 to 5 questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, your very first program really needs to be a higher end program. So like a 3-month or a 6-month package that's
Okay.
$3,000 to $5,000 at least.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yes. Because here's the thing that people get messed up with is they think, oh, I'll do lower end because I'm new, and because, you know, maybe I can, and here's the thing we try to convince ourselves, right? I can serve more people if it's more affordable for them.
Right.
That's baloney, because then you get people who aren't committed and don't finish the program. And really at any level you get that, whether it's $100 or whether it's $100,000, you get people who don't finish the programs. But early on, you don't have the audience to create lower end programs and get a lot of people in. So even if you did create that $500 product, do you have 200 or 20 people, to put in there to make what you want, right? Probably not. So you have to leverage you got to leverage the math the other way, right? So you want to have a program that's $3,000 to $5,000.
Thank you.
That you only need to sell a couple to make the kind of money that's going to help you with your lifestyle.
Okay.
Right? Because if you could find 2 people at $3,000 every month, you're making $6K. Or if you're at a 5K, right, that you've got 10K months with that. And then as you grow your following, then you can add some of those lower end programs so that we can stair step the people in. But for now, because we don't have the audience, you need to have the higher ticket so that it's actually feasible for you to keep the lights on.
Okay. Yes. I appreciate you giving me an outline of that so I know where we're going, and so that I'm not freaking out about, well, how am I going to sustain myself on 50% of nothing? So, oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, it all depends too, how much you do on your own. And I'm not saying to do everything on your own, but, you know, I was the VA, the billing manager, the graphics designer, the web designer, I have played every single role. And sometimes I tell people, you know, early on you have more time than money. So go on YouTube and figure out how to do stuff if it's something simple, right? And we all have the capacity to learn whatever we need to learn so long as we want to learn it badly enough. On the other hand, you have to balance that with how many things can I really do that are non-income generating activities that are not going to ruin my bottom line, if that makes sense. So you want to spend every day on activities that are going to grow your business and that are going to bring you income, right? Sales calls, putting posts out, doing outreach, having collaborations, even interviews with people who have an audience because you don't have a big enough audience right now, right? All of those things are income generating activities where, you know, putting the sales copy on your sales page is indirectly an income generating activity because the sales page might be something that you send somebody to. Is it the best use of your time? And can you afford to have somebody do that for you instead? So you kind of have to balance it. You know, I was queen of doing everything on my own, and that's always for everybody. And that doesn't always work for everybody. I am, I hate to keep going back to this Asian thing, but you're going to hear it for the next 9 months. But my mom, when we did math cards, it was like she would flash the card and I would say, you know, my times table, too slow, you know, and she's like, do it again, too slow, do it again, too slow. And so I got really quick at completing tasks, at doing things, and also being accurate and efficient, right? It wasn't just let me do it fast, but do it sloppy. It was she expected me to be fast, efficient, accurate, all of those things. So going into business, I brought that with me. Now everybody's not like that, and everybody can't handle the amount of things that I have done, because people go, oh my gosh, you do all that? Well, yes, I have done all that. And now I do have help. Thank goodness I have help, right? And some of the things that you might feel like you need help with to give you more time are actually household things. A housekeeper might actually give you more time in your business. Somebody who comes in, or getting one of those food delivery things, you know what I'm talking about, like HelloFresh or Green Chef or whatever, might actually save you more time in the long run and give you the time that you need in your business. So it might not be business help that frees up your time to do more income generating activities, but you want to make sure, like, when you look at the things that you're doing every day, that there are income generating activities every day happening. And then the other things are actually a lower priority. That's why a lot of times when people are like, oh, I can't do anything because my website's not up. Oh, but I don't have a landing page. But okay, you do not need a website, and you do not need a landing page to go out to a networking event, shake somebody's hand, exchange a business card, and follow up with them on the phone. No part of that is there a website involved. There's no landing page involved. It's a face-to-face connection, right? So don't get bogged down with, I need to look a certain way, or I have to have these things in place, or I have to be this pretty in my business in order for me to get clients. It's just not true. I still know people who like barely have 2 pages on their website that are making 6 figures, because that just never was their priority, and they're able to create the connections that they need to without all that. Most of the people will not go to a website or a sales page until they are a warm lead anyway. So people saying, I had somebody the other day, this is an old friend from church, and she has a baking business. And she said, would you mind giving me some tips? I don't know how to do social media, and my website looks a mess. And I'm like, okay, well, nobody's going to your website cold. They're not, unless you're really good at search engine optimization, nobody's going to your website, right? They're not going to find it until they first know you and get curious about you, and then want to know more about you, right? So don't let those things be reasons why you cannot do what you need to do. Somebody said to me, one of my coaches, and I use this a lot, and you'll see it in the things, it's just one of my things now, is what if we made our excuses our reasons? Because people so often say, I don't have time for, I don't have money for. What if we turn that around? The reason why I want to is because I need more time. The reason why I want to is because I'm going to create wealth. The reason why I want to is my kids deserve this. Because, you know, we can use our kids as excuses, or we can use them as our reasons. We can use time as our excuse, or we can use time freedom as our reason. So what would happen if we turned all those things around? You know? So don't use any of those excuses. I won't let you get away with them anyway. It's so funny, because I gotta tell you guys, I so appreciate that you guys appreciate my straightforward and directness and my Asianness, because for a while there in the very beginning, I did what most people did, right? They're like, they hid certain parts of themselves that they thought that the world wouldn't like, or that was too much for people to handle. And after a while, I was like, wait a minute, I actually think they like me this way. And it just made things so much easier. So, you know, in the same vein, you guys do the same thing. I want you guys to show up fully as whoever it is that you are. And you will attract the people who appreciate the way that you are. And marketing repels as well. So when you get somebody who doesn't like you or hates you or whatever, you know, hating on you, you did your marketing well. Because that means that they're taking a stand and having an opinion on you, right? And what you're saying actually is hitting them in a certain way. And you want to get rid of those people, and you want to attract the ones that like how you communicate, like your backstory, because again, it's all about an experience. People are buying an experience with you that they can't get anywhere else, right? Because there's going to be multiple people who are book coaches, but you can't get the same experience with me somewhere else because I'm that differentiating factor, right? Because we all sell some sort of commodity. Somebody else out there is doing it. The difference is going to be your story, your connection, your communication with that. And that's going to attract your clients. It's going to be very attractive to your clients. So you need to kind of get dirty and vulnerable and really share with the world how you are. Okay? All right, cool. Any other questions, guys? Because I really do love listening to myself talk. Seriously, I do. I rewatch my videos. I'm like, ooh, I like that. Ooh, that was a good one. I need to write that one down and use it again. All right, cool. So you guys know what you need to do next, right? And then we meet every second and fourth Monday. Yeah. Rhonda, do you have something? Whoops.
So the next meeting will be October 14th.
Let me look.
I'm going to put it in my.
Yes, it will be October 14th.
Okay. All right.
And then the next one will be the 28th.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. And then, like I said, Facebook group, ask your questions, whatever. Anybody else? Jacques, Jen, Navalette? All right, cool.
Ma'am.
Yeah. Jacques, did you?
No, I don't have a question at the moment. I just I think I had a conversation along with you to say, don't procrastinate, be on top of your own work, don't get behind. So
Can I
that's
share
it for
that,
me.
Jacques? So there was a post I had in my public group, Write Your Biz Book. And I think it was what would one characteristic you would change about yourself or something. And Jacques writes in there, procrastination. I'm like, oh no, you're not. Not in my program. You're not allowed to procrastinate. That's not going to fly. He's like, yes, coach. Yes, ma'am. Yep. All right, cool. So we will meet here in a couple of weeks then.
Cool.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right, thanks. Bye.